Hello everyone, this is Joseph Zabrowski. I'm going to do another inspirational video here, and it's based on a true story again, and the title of this one is called Adversity. It's kind of prefaced by saying, as you know, we send out, every morning we send out these quotes from people who, who faced adversity. They've had great successes, and I think it's vitally important to hear what people who have been successful and victorious in their lives have to say. And if you actually do read the quotes that I send out to you in the morning, you will see that it's a lot of those quotes are filled with people who have gone through major obstacles and who have held their ground, and they've faced all kinds of mishaps but ended up successful in the end. And I myself, I can understand that. Every life is not easy, and I'm not just trying to give you my point of view. I've experienced a lot of people who actually have been successful, and they've told me the same thing. That to be successful in life requires you to have a stick-to-itiveness, and to just not accept no for an answer. To have a mindset that is dead set on being victorious and successful. And we do home business here, and some people are looking for push button software to make millions of dollars, and that doesn't exist. And so if that's what you're looking for, you're in the wrong place. Any success requires going through some things. So I have this story I want to share with you. It's apropos. I used to work in the corporate world at Ford Motor Company. Actually, I live here in Michigan. The big three are out here, and I'm a college graduate, and I was actually working in the creative department, Ford Creative. They actually have a department called Ford Creative at the world headquarters in Michigan. And I started out as a contractor, and they pay you a really piddly wage. But it's great experience so that you can get bigger jobs in the future. Well, my experience was in the entertainment business, and I came back home. I had enough of Hollywood, and I came back home, and I got this job at Ford, and it was a really low wage, and I was on a contract basis, a 2-year contract. And during that 2 years, I started off as a audio video technician, but within those 2 years, my first 2 years, I was doing jobs that were producer and director jobs, and I was doing it fairly consistently, and so thus I wasn't being paid my wage. And so when my contract came up to be renewed, the guy who was in charge of our department, the big wig, so to speak, I went to him and I asked him. I told him with all of my proof via contracts that I had done on each of these jobs, that I was acting as a producer and director. I was working in that capacity, even though I was getting paid a audio video technician fee. And and he still, even though I showed him the proof and wrote him a long letter, he would not give me the rate increase. And it should have been double to triple the amount that I was presently making. So my contract came up, and they're going to pay me this real piddly wage, like $11 an hour. And everything that I was doing was producer and director type stuff. And so, as I was one of the jobs that I had as a director, when I was working for a very low wage, I met this editing guy. I was actually directing a video, and so I was in the editing suite with the guy, and we kind of hit it off. And as time went on, he told me, as I was going through all these political games in the corporate world, which is why I left the corporate world, he was telling me that there was a possibility of a job opening across the street at this really big communications firm. And so I kind of had that in the back of my mind while I was playing all these games. And during the time, it was really adversity, because I was working really hard, and the guy didn't want to pay me my wage, and there was all kinds of politics. And I remember this one day, I was on the elevator and going up to the 11th floor, I think it was, and the bigwig was in the elevator, and there was one of our clients was in the elevator, and I met this client months back, and we were talking, and I was wearing my I worked for Kevin Costner at TIG Productions when I worked in the entertainment business, and I was wearing a jacket from one of the movies, The Bodyguard, that I did, and he saw the jacket, and he was like, "Wow, man!" He was like, "That's great." I mean, and he was just totally like talking me up in front of the bigwig, and the bigwig was kind of standing there and just like, "Get me off of this elevator as soon as possible," because he didn't want to hear it, because we had just gone through this whole thing about me getting a rate increase. And this guy, his client, was like, saying, "Wow, I mean, this must be like small beans to you working out here after working out there in the entertainment business." And so the bigwig didn't like it, my boss, and so it was kind of interesting. But anyways, what happened was I was kind of going through all this, and I, as you know, I'm a believer, so I was praying continually about it. And what happened was, across the street there was a job opening, and I sent them my resume, and they knew I worked at Ford, and I actually ended up getting the job. And it was so cool, because I really, at that time, I wasn't working as much in the department that I was hired in, because they weren't giving me my rate increase, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And my bank account was getting really low, and but I just stuck in there. You know what I mean? I just stuck in there. I kept my foot in there, and I just kept trying to find a way, and that went on for a few weeks, 3 or 4 weeks actually. And when all was said and done, I ended up getting this job across the street, and my wage was $44 an hour, $45 an hour, I think it was. And so I ended up getting paid 4 times the amount that I was going to get paid at Ford. And so, but the moral of the story is that I stuck in there. Okay, I didn't quit. Like, even though they were doing me wrong, and they weren't going to give me what I was worth, and they were kind of not giving me many jobs in the interim before my new contract was coming up. I just kind of stuck in there, and I was asking God to prepare my table in the presence of my enemies, and I was just sticking to my guns and believing, and it didn't feel really good, and but I stuck in, and in the end I ended up getting what I didn't even expect. I was wanting to get like $20 an hour, and I ended up getting like $45 an hour. It was one of the most amazing things I had ever experienced, but it was all due to like standing in the gap and not quitting and not giving up. And so I say that to you. If you want to be successful online, you gotta be able to go through some obstacles, and you have to be willing to stand up for whatever it is that you want to be successful in, you guys. And so I'm saying that to you this year, as the new year is coming. I know you can be successful if you want to stand your ground. As you can see here, we have some adversity pictures. That's how it is oftentimes, going against the wind. And when you think of guys like these guys who don't even have their limbs, and they're still out there doing what they believe they have to do. And when you look at that tree, against the wind, that's oftentimes how it is. But we stand our ground. We're rooted in the truth of what we know we have to do, and when the wind comes up, we can stand our ground, and in the end we be successful. So that's it. I hope you take it to heart. I hope you think about it and utilize it. Till next time, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. God bless.